Hello, everybody. How are we all? Good to see you, Luco. Good to see you. Hey, Jax. Welcome in. Come on in. Right. Ooh. No worries at all, Luco. All right, anytime, anytime. How are we all? Hope we're doing good. Check if the game is... Yep, okay, we have audio. That's good. But we are back. We're back with more Horizon of the Forbidden West. And yeah, we're just... We left it here after... Oh, you finally started a different area. Yes, I broke the Barren Light tradition. I think going forward now, I think it's just we're going to just start here. Maybe or just outside. I don't know. But the reason I started here because there was a side quest I ignored, so I'm going to go and grab that in a moment. But yeah, hope everyone's doing good. Everyone's doing well. And yeah, we're gonna speak to Zoe and try and get a side quest off her.
There's something I'd like to discuss. It's about the land gods. If you have time, that is.
Oh yeah, what about him?
You said you wanted to talk about the land gods?
I think there's a way to heal them so that they'll once again provide Plainsong with grain. Gaia gave me a set of instructions. She called it reboot code. If we deliver it to the land gods, their derangement will end.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Maybe. There are thorns on the path. Unless the code is given by Hephaestus.
We're playing a lot of Deceiving. Ooh. Can we get any more wins?
We need components called control cores from machines made by Hephaestus. Machines similar to the land gods.
You mean Grimhorns?
Right.
Like the one we fought in the repair bay?
Yes. Gaia helped me locate 2 of them out west.
So, kill the machines, get the control cores.
That's not all the time.
Use them to adapt the...
Alright, you can't categorizing some files on your hard drive. Oh, okay.
That goes well, but taking down 2
Hope that goes well.
won't be easy.
As good as it can go, I
We'll
suppose.
do it together.
Bless you, Aloy. I'll send you the location of the machines.
How big is your hard drive? If you don't mind me asking,
I'll
Luco.
let you know when I get close to those Grimhorns.
Good. If we can get their control cores, maybe we really can heal the land gods.
You liking? What's the advantage of living in Switzerland? Plus, the flag is a big plus. 3 TB. Chunky old hard drive you got there. I suppose if you do a lot of art stuff, that can take up space. And games and stuff. How do hens stay fit? They always exercise.
It's time to stop.
All right, Ben.
It's
Okay,
time to stop,
okay.
No more.
Okay, I said.
Where the f are your parents?
I don't know.
Who are your parents?
I don't know.
I'm gonna call Child Protective Services.
Don't do
It's
that.
time to stop.
Don't do that. Please don't do that. Hi, Ben. That was such good timing. How you doing, though? How you doing? I've also figured out what time I'm likely to stream when I'm likely to stream at when I do. Ooh, nice. So you got a bit of a schedule going. Let's go. Definitely not the 10,000 episodes of anime games I have. Definitely all work files. Wink. Your secret's safe with me, Loco. It's fine. They're all work. Work stuff. I mean, you could kind of wiggle it around that it is work stuff, but you know, it's totally up to you, I suppose. Okay, so shit. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Oh, is that where? No. Uh, yeah, late evening or nighttime. Ooh, okay. So Zoe said it's stuff out west. Out west. So- Okay, so what quests have we got on the go? We've got Blood for Blood, Thirst for the Hunt, Meet Draka at the Outpost, Breaking Even, Soldier's March, Blood for Blood. Wait. Oh. Oh, Draka. I was like, why are they the same people? I was like, no, never mind. Shh. You just shushed. Drowned Hopes, which I can't do yet. Well, I could, but I'll probably drown. Talana, which is level 25. Okay. Then the second verse. Go to the meeting place. I think we're going to do some side quests and some errands today. Because we did a good chunk of story, and we unlocked a few more villages and stuff and side quests and stuff. So I think it's only fair if we continue on doing that. So, we could get the arena open. That is another thing we could do as well. Oh, so we've actually unlocked all the optional stuff. And at this point, we've got gauntlet runs, the cauldrons, Tornex collectibles, relic ruins, rebel outposts, rebel camps, the arena, hunting grounds, melee pits, salvage contracts, jobs, errands, and side quests. Okay, so well, that's level 15. I think we'll do the Thirst for the Hunt first, because that's probably one of the closest ones. All things considered. Or I could do the race actually. Yeah, we'll do a race. Well, no, I just use a fast travel camp thing, but my reasoning for it is that I don't have a period of inactivity because I'm eating something.
Machine riders from
Okay, yeah. Because you don't have a be right back shortly screen and anything like
what they're up to.
Yeah, that's fair.
I won the race. Hey,
You threw a rock in my face.
It's totally fair.
it's not like you can get any uglier.
Oof. Sick burn, bruh.
Hey, who are you?
Riding machines, huh? Who taught you to do that?
Hey, squad. We got someone with a death wish here.
Hello.
Whoa. Look at that hair. What? Someone get a little lost in the desert?
Hey, what's that thing the Easterners keep saying we do?
Oh, yeah. We all drink blood here, right? Maybe we should drink yours.
No.
You can try.
Is that a challenge?
Yes, that is a
Cool
challenge.
your blaze, Josek. Don't think you want to test your luck with Hikaru's new champion. We have no business with you, Outlander. Think we all had our fun. Road's right over there.
I just want
Those machines used to be regalas. But you don't look like holdouts to me. Who are you? How'd you get these mounts?
Round here, you want something, you race for it. You cross that finish line first, I'll answer any questions you have.
Aloy. You got a mount?
Race is full.
Oh, he big boy.
Actually, I think a spot just opened up.
Alright. What are the rules?
Don't die.
Rules are there are no rules.
Shut up, Pekka.
What is he? Final Fantasy 14 character? Nods.
This way, fresh meat.
Hang on. Give me 2 seconds. I need to just help my nephew with something. Just- Okay, I'm back. Alright, where were we?
Get you that mount.
So I talk to you now?
I see you carry a bow. Good. You'll
Pardon
need
me.
to use it if you want to win.
Against the other racers?
They will if you don't. We put everything on the line when we get on that track. Makes it worth something.
This is Mad
It's
Max,
fun to
basically.
track if you want to. Just let me know when you're ready for the real thing.
I don't have a mount, though. Let's test the
How do
track.
you practice run?
If you think it'll help.
Do I get a mount? Okay, I do. Okay, that's good. Aim backwards. Oh, you can aim backwards? Oh, okay. Or is this more like Mario Kart? 2, 1. Okay, you... Yeah, this is literally Mario Kart. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, this is literally Mario Kart. I think of a desert track from one of the Mario Kart games I played. There's probably some famous ones that I just can't remember now. No, Coconut Mall isn't a desert track. Okay, God, it's a long track. Rock arrows. Okay, slow down other mounts. Okay, nice. Okay, shortcut. It's fine. Dry mountain. Thank you, Vico. I don't know why Coconut Mall came up in my head. Coconut Mall, yes, the famous desert location in the Mario universe. Shit. I walked into that one, didn't I? I sure do. I sure do. Coconut Mall's the Gerudo Valley of Mario. Yeah, see, I know Gerudo Valley. See, yeah, that makes sense. Not the fact that Coconut Mall... You know, no, never mind. I'm just going to shut up. Like, Gerudo Valley is a desert, but Coconut Mall isn't. But by my logic, it is. So, which is terribly flawed.
Now that you've got some practice in, think you're ready for the real thing?
Yep.
Let's do this.
I just want to race now because
All right.
the more I talk, the
Everyone
more
get ready.
nonsense I speak, I think. Oh, typical racing game. I'm at the back. You don't talk about it. You don't talk about it. Oh, I got a boost. Let's go. Yay, yay. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Am I meant to, like, shoot them? Oh, get fucked. I mean, oh no, I am so sorry. I did that. Fine. Whoa! Careful, careful. Imagine if horses had nitro boosts IRL. I mean, that would be some horsepower. I'm gonna say that much. Get out of here. That'd be some serious horsepower. Oh, yeah, just killed a hog. And I was a young warthog. Ow! Oh, come on! Just how to get that. Oh, fuck you. Hey.
You like that?
Ow. Donk. Yeah, this is not like Mario Kart where you can like there's no like rubber banding. It's just like you're either really bad or half decent. Actual horsepower moment. Welsh and nonsense go hand in hand. I mean, yeah, can't really argue with facts to be honest. It is. Oh, give off. Yeah, shoot the guy in second or person in second, whatever. Ah, oh, you will fucking bit. Oh. Give me the boost. Give me the boost. See, I try and shoot backwards, and all hell breaks loose. Fine, this is fine, this is fine. Oh god. Please let me win. Yeah, let's go.
Made it.
I was just waiting for someone to go.
Prize for winning the race. You earned it.
I think you owe me some answers.
Name's Ata. As for how we got these mounts,
When I did this quest, I just focused on getting ahead.
joined Regala's
But, like-
army thinking we'd get a chance to fight in a real war against the Karja. Instead, Regala.
Like if I'm holding X to like
snuck out on a
ride,
mouse and never
like I can't boost apart from using the blaze boosts.
decided we were better off
So-
on our own. No rules, no chiefs. Just
That's all right. It's just when as soon as I think I'm not gonna like try and shoot behind.
Too bad.
I'm just gonna shoot them and when they get in front and just stop them.
Where's your quiet friend? The one with the mask. He didn't join the race.
He gave up his
Oh,
spot so you could join.
Maybe you should have done some giggles before bringing this
What makes
crew.
you say that?
But
I haven't lost a single race. Thought you would have gotten your answers.
Oh,
if you
hi.
stuck around.
Maybe.
I know, right?
You know, Hack's found a spot to
Now we're
start the
talking.
race.
We've gone from work files to getting ahead. I
Right on the
mean,
beach.
sheesh.
Make your way there. Maybe there'll be a spot waiting for you.
If I'm in the area, I'll think about it.
Talking about hard drives, and now we're talking about getting heads. Like, chat do be wild. The reason I'm getting ahead is that I'm not a fan of Mac. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Science profusely. That's been me the last like 3 days. Okay. Why? Oh, I got my Bella back, haven't I? That's still alive. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I could gather bristleback tusks. Why not?
Dyer can make use of this.
No, stay there. Weak to lightning. And that's a tusk, right? Oh, did I just kill it in 2 hits? Yep, they die in 2 hits now. Cool stuff. Nice. Okay, so now I need to go to a rollerback site. Rollerback site, isn't it? Oh, it's there. So, with the tall neck in Still Sands, is that can I do that one, or is it the same as this one over here where I can't do it yet? Well, quick. One that isn't you can do. Okay. I might do that one then. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, that's a. What the fuck is that? Oh, that's a. Oh, frost. Hello back. Oh, and a behemoth. Just chilling. Nice. Oh, is that what we're gonna fight with this guy? Huh. Should be interesting. This should be interesting.
Aloy.
I say that with the biggest sense of dread possible.
Oh, you came. I'm touched. Heard you've been causing all kinds of trouble. Regala must be thrilled. You'll have to excuse the mess. Our soldiers use this place to prepare themselves before herding machines into the canyon and harvesting parts. Feel free to take any supplies you need.
I've already taken them, so.
I'm right behind
I've already taken them, so it's okay.
This way.
Unless there's more. Oh, no, there's more. No, never mind, never mind. Shh. Need all this. I definitely need all.
Our so-called commander's always talking about how scarce water is in the desert. Do you really think anyone in Scalding Spear's dying of thirst? Or her own squad? Our clan should be led by someone who knows what it's like to fight tooth and nail to survive.
And I'm guessing that someone is you?
Make sure everyone gets all the water they need, no matter what village they're from.
Didn't Jataka say you guys have too little to go around to begin with?
I'm sure I'd be able to fix that somehow. There's always a way.
But there's a will, there's a way. That's one famous person said, I think. Okay, now I gotta talk to him. Okay.
Heard you've been causing all kinds of trouble.
Yes, that's like the second time you've.
Be thrilled.
I'll help you harvest machine hearts if it'll get water for your people.
Oh, it will. That's the canyon we draw machines into. Then we block them in and pick them off. Now, we'll have to climb over the barricade to get in. When we do, be ready to fight. I already lost good people in there. Can't wait to see the champion killer in action. You go and I'll follow.
Why is this giving me the idea that it's a trap?
Hold on to any hearts you loot and I'll take them from you later.
Okay, so what are we dealing with here?
Resistant to shock.
Ravager, Fire Fanghorn. Oh, is that it? Acid. Okay. Honk. Honk. Oh, and now it's been le poison. Ow. You gonna give me some? Yeah, not before I die. Ow. Oh, wait, did I say like a recovery thing? That was cool. Oh, fuck off. Oh, there's two of them. That's nice. yum, 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 yum. Oh, I'm about to die. Oh my god. Brute force, brute force, brute force. Oh. It's dead.
There, the machine's vulnerable.
Oh, give off. Oh, just accidentally knocked the fang horn down. Bonk. There's more of them. There's probably more where that came from. He did. Oh. Ow. Yes, I can see you need backup. I can't even see. Oh, I gotta help him, haven't I? Because otherwise he's gonna die. Never mind. He's just self revive. All good.
I need to attend to the dead. Make sure their tags get back to their families. If you can harvest the machine heart, I'd be grateful.
That went about as well as it could have, to be honest. Oh yeah, I gain more medicine, don't I, per pickup. That's good.
That's all the parts we need. I should take these to Draka.
I need more medicine berries. Even though I've got 300 in my stash, I need more medicine berries. Please and thank you. I go back to... Oh, no. Oh, he's there. Okay. He's tending to the wounded. Cool.
May the wings of the 10 carry you home, my brother.
I got the hearts. We should head back to Arrowhand.
Yeah. At least now we can bag and tag these soldiers. Hold on. Since you can clearly handle a bunch of angry machines, I want to go back to where the Thunderjaw hit us. I lost a lot more fighters there. I can't just leave them to rot.
Oh, we'll find the
Good
Thunderjaw.
to be
Lovely.
bag and tag too. Will you come with me?
I think he did mention it, didn't he? And I was like, fuck off. And then we're doing this quest. So, here we are.
Glad to have you along.
I love Thunderjaws, and Thunderjaws love me. Something along those lines.
To think, so many have to die just to get water.
Did you try talking to your commander at Scalding Spear?
Please, the only thing she'll listen to is the sound of a bow being drawn. About that, wouldn't mind having yours at my side if it ever came to it.
I'm just passing through, Draka.
Can't blame me for trying.
No, I don't.
This is it. Where the Thunderjaw ripped through my squad.
I'm sorry, Draka.
They were warriors to the end. We should get started.
Let me guess. The Thunderjaw's going to make an appearance? In about 3, 2, 1.
Someone's alive. By the rocks.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Hang on. Hold on. Hold up. Oh no.
Speak sense, soldier.
Alright,
Burrowers.
he's fine.
Fight on our hands.
Yeah, I'm aware. Of course you turn around at the exact moment I go to fire. Thanks, game. Oh. Yeah, nice. Well done.
Thunderjaw's back. This is gonna get rough.
Oh, no kidding. Thunderjaws? I love the sound of Thunderjaws. Not really, but, you know. I say to myself, I'm not scared, right? Oh, he's just gone fucking straight for it. He has gone pedal to the metal. Oh, oh wow. Yeah, I'm just trying not to die. That'd be nice. Oh, I can use the bolt blaster? Wait, what is it weak to? Oh, acid. Acid.
Still in this fight.
Yep, yep, I knew that was gonna happen.
Barely making a dent on this thing. We need more firepower.
Any dead ravagers around? We can use their cannons.
That did a bit of damage.
I'm in trouble over here.
Yeah, I can't really revive you, buddy. You have to get up on your own. Oops. Fuck are these cannons? I can't see them.
Hey, that'll leave a good star to show off.
Oh, someone's charging. That thing's charging.
Let's make these arrows stick.
Whoa! Cave. Oh, fuck off. There we go. I'll do.
We did it. Hey, do me a
Ooh,
favor,
okay.
get Thunderjaw's heart. I need to check on that soldier.
Oh, now I get a disc launcher.
I should check on Draka and that soldier.
Now I get a disc launcher. Cool. No, I didn't do too bad. US. Could be. You're having more fun playing this game than you thought you would? Hell yeah. Nice. It's nice. And it is nice. It is a nice feeling to play a game that you would never have ever played and try it and like really like it. It's a nice feeling.
Didn't think I was going to make it. You did good, soldier. You're going back home. Thanks to this one.
You were the one who refused to leave your people behind.
Yeah, I just took down a Thunderjaw. No
I know
biggie.
I'm racking up favors here, but did you take those hearts back to Arrowhand? We'll be right behind you.
Of course. Be careful.
With that Thunderjaw heart in hand, we'll get all the water we need. Thank you, Aloy.
Well, you know, just don't hoard it for yourself. Probably will, but hey, I tried. Oh, Talana's at the same Osram camp. That's interesting. Hey. Yep. All right, Arrowhand. Hello.
You've returned. Where's Draka?
He's fine.
Just a little late, Chaplain. Gained some extra baggage on the way back. She's got the machine hearts, including a Thunderjaws. You should have seen this flame in the desert. Here. Something to commemorate our heroic victory.
A victory indeed. Command will be relieved to hear about this.
Get them to Scalding Spear as soon as you can. And tell the commander how many had to die to get them.
Huntress, may I have a word? I heard what you did at the Grove. They say that in addition to your bow and spear,
More to this, isn't
you
there?
have a kind of second sight, especially for matters that have to do with the old ones.
That's one way to put it.
So it's true. You've done well by my clan, but our troubles may not be as easily settled as Draka believes. I think your second sight might be just what we need.
What exactly is the problem?
Not here. Meet me at Scalding Spear. I'll explain everything.
I'll see you there when I can.
Good. The entire clan might depend on it.
Isn't that where Hikaru was? Thirst for the hunt complete. Ooh, oh wow, I got a lot of skill points. Holy shit. Wound in the sand. Level 19. What to Chaplain just to have this transfer from over these. Okay, so right, skills time. What was I gonna do? Hunter? I'm gonna regen, that's quite nice. Resonator Blast, Resonator Build Up. %, recovery speed? Oof, that is nice actually. Oh, Hunter Bow, triple notch. Ooh. Hello. Load up to 3 arrows of your current selected type. Find normally to resolve this arrow. Ah, okay. I mean, smoke bomb capacity, double notch. Like override subroutine. Resonator build up. That'll do. that'll do for now. Any more frost defenses? No, just 5%. Stealth damage, that'd be quite. A lot of valuables to sell. That's good. Sounds good. Could probably do with some potion. Actually, I can just sell the resources. Nice. Nearly 900 metal things. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Food? I don't think I've got food. I have one.
Outlander, I have just the
I don't have any. No, don't throw the rock. Don't throw him. Boosts machine damage. Look
again next time you're passing.
So have I been in Scalding Spear? I haven't been in Scalding Spear. No, I didn't realize it was there, of all places. Huh. Oh, that was Memorial Grove, right? Okay. Okay, so in that case, breaking even. Let's go to the caravan. Go to the caravan, and we can speak to Talana as well while we're there. I know it's level 25, so we could probably. I know we're 24, so we could probably do it. But I mean, at least I can speak to her and maybe just kind of get that quest line going a bit. You know, again. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Oh, that's a lot of enemies. That have just spawned out of goddamn nowhere. No. Past it. You. Are you really chasing me? Fuck off. Fuck off. Oh no, your partner's dead. Oops. Like you are too, buddy. Happens when you try and step. Damn, didn't realize those charges were from Harry Potter. What is this? What is that? Platform 9 3/4?
I should talk to their leader.
Impidimp. What a name for a Pokemon. Hello. Camp Nowhere. What a name for a camp.
Now she's in the wilds, all alone. Forge knows all the things that could kill her out there.
Someone ran off?
Never got her name. Kept quiet. Couldn't tell if she was shy or scared. All I know is she didn't want anyone near her things.
That's for sure. I was just curious is all.
Oh, it's the guy that... Isn't that the guy that we
Jaw ain't the problem,
give
Lugnut.
the things
The
to?
girl is. All alone in the bush. And this is Tanakh territory.
Which way did she go?
West, up the slope. Look for her if you can.
Yeah, it's the guy that was...
Careful now. Girl's maladjusted.
Is it? No. There's a different guy. I don't know, I can't tell. Signal spike.
Looks like we have company. Why not rest for a moment, friend?
Oh, there's Talana.
Closing in on the signal.
Listen to a rumor. Go on. Tell me your stories, old friend.
You might want to avoid going too deep into the desert,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
the southwest. One of our scouts ran into some nasty Tanakh down there, the kind that contain machines. He barely made it back alive.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me know.
Devil's Grasp, new rebel camp.
Sounds like the rebels are as friendly as ever.
Yeah, aren't they always? They always.
I wonder what they're doing this far out in the desert. Are you lost?
Spark to steel. Aren't you a jewel in a junk heap?
Excuse me?
Hello?
The hammer? I know you. You're that Nora. The savior. My savior. Right in the nick of time. The name's Poor Guff Delvesman, chief delver and leader of Poor Guff's expeditioners and purveyors of fine delvewares.
What am I saving you from, exactly?
Death and despair, my steel flame friend. See, this grand expedition here has had a...
I love how just Talana's just chilling,
Not
you
far
know?
from here, there's a secret tunnel. A passage of the old ones, lost and then found. Me and half the crew came through first. The other half was supposed to follow right after. But days later, only one man turned up, shivering like a frog in chilled water. Only thing we got out of him was that death and darkness chased them as the tunnel collapsed. Died with his eyes wide, he did.
I've been to the tunnel's eastern side. The way was blocked by rubble. There was also a body, one of your delvers, I guess, but no sign of the rest of the crew.
Keep your voice down, will you? The rest of the crew's already spooked. They're refusing to press on with the delve until they're assured a way out of here.
You lost half your crew and you're worried about the delve.
We gotta make their sacrifice worth something, right? And besides, now that you're here, maybe our sand-stranded days are over.
I think where we've
Maybe
been,
if
that would
tunnel
help.
reopens,
That would have
then I'll
linked
cut
this,
you in
but...
on the delver's fee. What do you say?
What do you say? What's a
Is there
Karja?
a Karja traveling with your expedition? A man by the name of Amatis?
We always pick up a few travelers on the road. Akaja here, Banuk there. Never learn their names, though. They don't stick around long. But I have a scout who might know. Likes the whole getting to know people thing. He's right over there, chatting up that Kaja huntress. Don't remember her joining the delve either.
Thanks.
Happens to be our friend.
I'll
Let's just...
see what I can do about the tunnel.
My savior.
For the crew trapped here with you, not your delve.
One and the same.
That it? Over there?
That it is. Oh, and while you're at it, would you mind keeping an eye out for my lockbox? The second crew was supposed to bring the rest of the supplies and belongings. I'd hate to lose it to the wilds. It was hand-carved by my dear old ma.
I'll bring it back if I find it.
I'd appreciate it. Good luck, Still Flame.
I'm not leaving because I'm talking to Talana. Hold on. No.
Talana, glad to see you made it.
Thanks to the secret passage through your base. It was quite a sight.
Secret passage? Don't let the others hear you say that, or you'll have a lot of Oseram knocking at your door.
And you are?
This is
Hello.
Raggard. He's a scout with this caravan. He says Amatis was here.
He joined up with our expedition right before we went through the tunnel. After we made camp here, I set out to do some scouting. I also made peace offerings to the Tanakh for trespassing in their territory. Amadis wanted me to ask around about some place called the Rot.
What did you find out?
Most I learned was that it's where the Tanakh took their prisoners. Somewhere far to the west near Thornmarsh, the Lowland clan's capital. He set out to find it not long after.
On his own?
I tried to warn him, but he was dead set on going.
What happened when you went through the tunnel?
Nothing. Our crew split into 2 groups to pass through. Everyone here was part of the first crossing. Aside from some pitch-black passages...
Okay, so something did happen then.
Fell, the second group spared us. Steel Spark be praised.
I'm looking into it.
Much appreciated. A lot of us want to know what happened in there.
Did Amadis say anything about why he was heading to the Rot?
Afraid not. He was a man of few words.
Sounds like him. Did he look okay to you?
More or less. He seemed shaken when we learned the tunnel had collapsed behind us. But then again, so was everyone around here.
Thanks.
To the Rot.
This has been helpful.
Hope you find him.
Okay, I'll head for Thornmarsh. Meet me there.
Hold on.
What?
You're willing to go to the ends of Tanakh's territory to find this guy. No hesitation.
Of course, he's one man alone in the Forbidden West. I'm just worried about him.
I think it's more than that. I'll meet you near the lowland capital. But then, you're going to tell me who Amadis really is.
Fine. I'll lay low, north of the village. See you there.
She loved him. Okay, so that's something on the horizon. Signal spike. An Ostrom fled west into the desert from Camp Nowhere. She's only surviving the wilds on her own. Yeah, let's go to... Ah, spine break. Can I go through here? Anyway, let's do this. Go to the tunnel. Oh yeah, because that's where we fought that fucking massive machine that killed me like 4 times.
And clear a path back east. Tunnel's blocked. And no sign of a missing expedition. I need to find a way to get further in. Should be able to...
Aha! Fire gleam! Oh, ads. Apologies, everybody.
There's someone still alive in here.
Okay. Must wait for the ads to finish, that's all. Oh. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I think from what I gather, like quests wise, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of this. A lot of I think we'll get to... Well, we'll probably do up to Wound in the Sand, probably. Maybe. We'll definitely do these two. Blood for Blood, Wound in the Sand. Soldier's March is going to be a pain. Because that's all the way over there. I'd have to leave. Yeah, we could do the Cold Rushes as well. Oh, that's Demeter's coordinates. Right. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. There's probably going to be side quests in Scalding Spear as well, actually, thinking about it. Pentala at Salt Bite. Okay. And we got the Tall Neck to do as well. Nice. Yeah, we got a few bits and pieces. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the Vista Point at the moment. So we've got Blood for Blood, Signal Spike, opening the arena, salvage. I'll leave the thing camp for now. Okay, Talana's there. That's the next racetrack. Okay, that's going to be a little bit later on, I assume. Okay, doke. Right, welcome back to the answer, everybody.
So you're real. Thought I was dreaming. What happened to you? A terror in the dark. The world
It's a survivor.
shuddered. A machine? Never got a look. The caravan. We all ran. Everything collapsed. Crawled here. Couldn't escape.
Yeah, you can.
Did anyone make it out? And find the first caravan?
Victory. Nice.
Someone did. Good. At least I'm not alone.
Wait, she dead? Oh, she dead.
Rest easy now. Sounds like something big attacked the missing expedition. I better press on.
I don't like this. Why can't I scan that? Oh. Right there. GG's on the victory though, by the way, yes. GG.
Like the sound of that.
And seven games out of 45. Not too bad of a ratio, considering it's the first time, you know, you only just started picking up the game. I don't know.
Burrowers. And more of Porker's missing expedition.
Well, fuck it. Apex Tracker Burrower. Alright. It's not weak to anything? Oh. Oh, extra powerful variants of machines. Okay, makes sense. Why am I not using my... Fuck. Apex Snipe Scout. What on God's name is that? That's it? Maybe? That might work? Oh. I did something. Apex, have you been playing solos?
She said they were attacked by some kind of terror. I don't think it was these burrows.
Apex machines can't be overridden. Ah, yeah, because it makes sense if it's their like more powerful version. You know, that'll be a thing to them, innit?
I'll keep some extra on hand.
Getting some good loot, getting some good weaves, weapon weaves, armor weaves. Good stuff.
Focus might see something.
I'm pulling this. I know what to do. There we go. Pull me.
Oh, that got something's attention. Sounds like it's coming from further in. Better get out of here quick. It looks like it lets out ahead.
Why? I need loot. Wish to loot. Why must I have to run now all of a sudden? Oh, that's why.
A rock breaker. They must have attacked the officer as they were passing through.
Oh, fuck. Right, yeah. Yep, I expected that. Mm-hmm. Weak to ice. Thank you. Fuck off. Oh, come on. Okay, yeah, that
That's one rock breaker, the
yeah,
one
that
The Oseram must have entered the canyon on the eastern side.
bolt blaster is coming in handy. Thank you for that, Luco. Gotta keep it going. A free spell back? Damn. Wait, so where am I going now? Oh yeah, probably trying to look for the chill water.
Those carts must be the supplies the second crew was supposed to bring over.
Yeah, I'm trying to loot it all.
Said his lockbox was supposed to be among them. Torgriff's lockbox. I should take it back to him.
Find an entrance to the eastern side of the canyon. Okay. Fucking Army and Capcom 2.
That wall looks like it came down when the rockbreaker attacked. They must have trapped the Oseram in the canyon. The rest must have run to the western tunnel. When I get to the... I should be able to blow this up to clear the debris. The tunnel should be clear now. I better let Torgriff know.
Cover your ears, gentlemen. Nice. Okay. Okay, so gonna be no thing here. There's no campfire here. Is there? No. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna fast travel. Fuck it.
Let's see. So, if we add all the days lost to being stuck in Camp Nowhere and throw in some You're back! How's that tunnel looking?
I found the rest of your crew. One of them was still alive. For a while, anyway. Turns out a rockbreaker attacked them as they were making their way through.
Poor Saz. Many roads lead to a Delver's End, but that's got to be one of the worst.
Well, I took care of the rockbreaker. The way's clear now.
Ha ha! I knew you could do it. And, you didn't happen to find my lockbox now, did you?
Here you go.
Spark in the dark. Is there nothing you can't do?
There's stuff. Probably.
Here, your fee as promised. Now that the threat's gone, I'll have the tunnel shored up and cleared out. Then I can send for another crew, get this expedition going proper like. Ha! Onwards to the delve.
Good be, buddy. Be. Okay, so next stop. Actually, yeah, next stop, Tall Neck. Would like to go to the Tall. Tall Neck. 70% extra damage. Oh yeah. I don't really use the melee spear, the resonator like spear thing, but like. I know. Don't worry.
I heard there was one in this area.
Fine. It's fine.
This looks like Oseram gear. It must be the crew I heard about. The one tracking a Tolnek. What are they up to?
Explore the camp.
That doesn't look good. I should check it out.
Well, it's been stampeded for a start. He did. He did.
Looks like the Osram used some kind of harpoon to take this machine down. It must have attacked the camp. Maybe my focus can help me figure out why. All this sweat, and I'm still not cooling off. These are tall neck antennas. The Osram must have stripped them somehow.
How did they get up a tall neck? And they're not that tall.
These Osram were killed by machines. So the one they took down wasn't alone.
Okay.
A harpoon. With anchors. Were they? They were trying to take down that tall neck. So the Osram wanted to weigh down that tall neck and strip it for parts. The machines must have caught them in the act. I wish there was a way to climb up and inspect the damage. Unless I take down the tall neck myself and try to repair it on the ground. It wouldn't be pretty, but I'll still get fixed.
So I've got to use the ballista to weigh it down, right? Yeah, this is very different from the first game. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more there's a lot more to them. It's not just like, okay, find the tallest point, jump on it. No, you gotta like, it's like one was, say, rerouting power. This one now you gotta like basically shoot it. I'm guessing I'm on a timer as well, because, well, first I need to find where the other ballistas are. I know there's one over there I can see. Unless I weight down with just one. You're not on a time if I put some at ease. Okay. That does put me at ease, actually. Okay.
Trouble. And I need more anchors. The Osram must have set up other ballistas in the area. I just gotta find them. Hello to you too. I've been
Hi.
The ballista can help me fight these machines. Looks like machines got to this one too. Another ballista. And it's got one of the anchors I need. One more should weigh it down enough. Machines. I need to hurry. There's an attachment over here. I need to look for more in the area.
Okay, okay. Normally she's like, it tells me it works or not. Okay, yeah, this is 2. The last one looks like it's over there. I see. Stormbirds? Oh, no, Glinthawks. Hi. Oh, Skydrifter. Okay, man. Fucking bitch. Oh, don't get stamped on. Oh, come on. I'm gonna have to wait for it to, yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for it to go around again. Gives me a chance to properly loot all the stuff.
I can grab this from my stash later.
Okay, right. Let's go up here. Wonk.
That weapon still has an anchor. Let's use it.
A fire bella back over there? That's a pain. Oh no, don't come over to me. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. Oh, it's an acid bellowback. Ha! Even better.
Here while it's covered in acid.
Oh, well, that was a good hit. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Don't worry. Oh, good night. Oh, and that too. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's running away now. Oh no, it's coming back.
Sorry about this, big guy. If I can override you, I can figure out what needs fixing.
Hold on.
Hopefully that's the last of those machines.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, yep, it's just getting up. And Aloy's, yeah, she's got good gravity on that tall neck. Oh. No, you're not gonna. Cool. I didn't want you to. I didn't want. Oh, yeah, cool. I didn't. It's fine. Anywho. Oh, machine kill assist, nice. Okay. Silent strike gain. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, I'm happy with that now. I'm happy with those skills. Might start pumping into more into this, maybe. And or I could start pumping into Knockdown shot. Ooh. Okay. Critical strike does 50% more damage. That'd be nice. Any damage as well. So another, yeah, we'll do those two. And then yeah, I mean, Infiltrator. I think we're done. I'm happy with that for now. So I don't need to touch Infiltrator for a little bit. Survivor there's a few more which are 3+3. Hunter. Could get these, but I'm not too fussed. Weapon stamina would be nice, obviously. And ammo expert would be very nice. Yeah, probably Hunter and Warrior probably next sort of ones. Okay, so let's do Signal Spike. Oh, look at that. Nice. We've actually uncovered the map. Okay, nice. I don't think there's no real. I may as well just ride there from where I am now. Okay. Shame. And then we'll leave Poseidon for now. So we've got Rollerback, Deck on the Hillcrest. And then we got Pentala. We've got a couple here. Soldiers March and Call and Respond. And then we'll head into Scalding Spear, I think. Fun. That's what we'll do. Unknown Rebel Outpost. Oh, you mean that? Hold on. Hey there. Just,
Host full of rebels. Time to find whoever's in charge and take them out.
Big stock. Ag.
Great. Fire won't do much.
I know I probably just pushed away, but that's fine. I'm getting tagged, aren't I? Dead. 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 Get her! Dead. Oh.
Judging by that armor, I think I know who's in charge.
You're probably gonna be weak to. Oh no, you're weak to ice. Okay. Or acid as well. Why are you picking up boulders? No, 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 no. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Come on. You silly goose. Okay, yeah, you know what? You know what? I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Pain subsiding.
Give you that as well. Here, have this. Have that. Have that. Have that. Who the fuck are you? Oh, it's the shell snapper from... Oh, God. Okay. 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 Weak to fire and acid. Cool. Can you just politely fuck off? Appreciate it.
Tags of some kind. Must be the ones Duke mentioned. I should take them back to the grove when I get a chance.
When I streamed last night, I spent a bit trying to find, trying to figure out mic audio. Oh, okay. And what were you looking at? Or like, trying to see if you get your headset to work or something? Okay, I'm too far away for that. Really? Acid. Fucking bitch. You're gonna surprise me, aren't you?
I can keep going.
Right now I'm just trying to figure out if there's an easy way for me to switch games while streaming. Ah, okay. That's gonna be tricky, I think. With the setup you have. Why are they such a pain in the fucking ass to try and... Oh wait, no, I'm not. It's not this. It's not weak to ice. It's weak to fire. No, I was trying to test out if I was able to not hear my voice through the headphones. Luckily, that didn't seem to be the case. Ah, okay. Gotcha. I mean, can you? I'm not sure. You probably can't do that on a Steam Deck.
Okay, better.
Wait, is it just gone? Oh, okay, it's just gone. Cool. All right, fine. Didn't want to. You stream 3 PS5. Oh yeah, that's a no-no then. You coming back with all full health again? If it's come back with full health, I'm gonna just run away. Fuck that. Oh no, it's the same one. There is a way? Oh, is there? What? Oh, to change... Isn't it on PS5 though? Don't you... Doesn't it start a new stream every time if you do a game, right? If I'm not mistaken? Doesn't it like just start a new stream? I'm going to die. Don't tell me how to play my game, please. Fuck, I'm nearly dead. I need medicinal herbs, like, now? Okay, alright. Is it now? It's up here again. No. At least I think there is a way to do it, right? Yeah, because as far as I know, like, fuck off, fuck off. Dead. From what I remember, like, from what I've seen people play on stream on PS5, like when you change game, it like finishes a broadcast and then starts another one, basically. It's a kill. Thank fuck for that. Well, I killed it.
Thanks to the data from the cauldrons, I can override tracker programs now.
I think my favorite part about this game is when the main character says it's forbiddening time. When forbidden's everywhere. Hey, voice there. How you doing, buddy? Welcome in, welcome in. Good to see you. How you been keeping? Right, what were we doing again? Hope your day's been good, my man. It's been good. Yeah, can't complain. Can't complain too much. Hope your day's been good as well. Plenty of.
It's always good to have extra.
Yeah, I just hate the hot one. Yeah, it's been raining all day here, but it's still like my room is still hot. To be fair, my room is the warmest room in the house, so anywhere's going to be the hottest part of the house. It's going to be my room. What with the PS5 running, my PC running, TV running. It's definitely dropped in temperature, sure, which is nice. It's gone from like, I think it was 25, 26 degrees yesterday, and now it's dropped to like 20, so that's much more bearable for me. Oh, spike snap, yeah, I'm just gonna pass on that. Yeah, mine is too. Every time I walk in the hallway, it feels great. Yeah, same. Just nice. And my window's open constantly. Actually, my window's up. I mean, my window's open constantly now because I got a net, like a mosquito net, in there instead.
Should use shock ammo. Sounds like someone's in trouble.
Because I got mosquito bit. I got bitten by mosquitoes like a month ago now.
Leave my stuff alone.
That's been fun.
Away from that thing. Think you found a weak spot.
I think she's gonna need some backup.
Oh, that. Oh, can you? Hey, come on. Yeah. Hang on. I'm just trying to not die. I'm dead.
Is it safe? Did they get to it?
I should make sure she's okay.
Hold on. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Just gonna double check something. Okay, I'm back. Okay, right. Any more? Okay, cool. Let's go find this lady or person. Hello. On a shelter, at least.
142. Supply drop.
Alright, wire the spike is still intact. Rig's still playing.
You okay there?
You took out those machines. I'm grateful, but you should go now. There's nothing to see here.
So this rig of yours, it's receiving sound through that wire from the thing up on the cliff, what you call a spike.
Transmission
The
tower.
message is only a fragment, and you're trying to pick up the whole thing?
How did you figure all that out?
I've learned a few things in my travels.
I know some things.
If you want, we could talk about it. Maybe I can help?
You do seem downright knowledgeable.
Like her outfit.
So go ahead. Shoot.
Well, if you insist.
How did you first hear the message?
I used to be a smith up in the claim. Wasn't an easy life. A lot of hard work without much to show for it. Then, one day, I heard a whisper coming from a steel rod. Faint.
Rod.
Like the last fingers of steam coming off a cooling forge. When I moved the rod around, the whispers got louder. I did some tinkering, built my rig, and did my best to follow that sound. Further west I came, the stronger it got. Then I found that spike up there.
So, do you actually think Resident Evil 5 is the best in the series?
The words were clearer than ever.
What do you think the message is?
For the meme, yes, but not. I wouldn't say it's my
There's
favorite.
something sad about it.
I do say four was my favorite, the original. I haven't played the remake yet, but 4 was my favorite out of them all.
I'd sure like to know what it means.
Or I don't know. I don't know how I would rank them. Or 5 was fun because it was co-op. I did it with co-op with Jax. But 2 remake was good. I enjoyed 3 remake. A little short, but I enjoyed 3 remake. 1 remake was good. Wasn't a fan of 0. Didn't really like 0. Code Veronica was really good.
It's impressive. How does it work?
Yeah.
Well, like you said, the spike up there.
It's just because I saw it. It says on your Team Retrosaurus thing when I scroll. Oh yeah, they. Yeah, they basically asked like 3 things. Doesn't have to be true, but like you can just say 3 things you want to put on, or 3 or 4 things you want to put on there.
Sound louder. I'm not exactly sure.
I just say that because of the bolt, because of Chris punching a boulder.
And
It's just a
you
meme.
Set it up out here all alone?
I'm not the trusting type.
But I did enjoy it
Pretty
though.
much
I did
everything
enjoy the game.
is all alone.
And Chris Redfield punching a ball that was worth it and more, I will say.
You're no ordinary tinker.
Didn't used to be a tinker at all.
Actually, massively enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 5, it definitely leaned more towards action and cooperative work and stuff like that. But I thought it was good.
You see.
And then 6 came along, and then that is universally hated. Like you play 6, it's just like.
I once had a shot at joining a first-rate crew, one of the best forges in the
You know what I mean?
but I didn't get the job. My own brother wouldn't vouch for me just because I'm a female.
6, never heard of it. Nah, me neither. Don't know that game. Don't know what you're talking about. That's all I say.
Anyhow,
6. Yeah, like.
here, I don't have to worry
There was a Resident Evil 6. Didn't know. I know Resident. Yeah. Co-op was fun.
Sounds like you're still mad at your brother.
I don't know. I just like. It was too much. It was too over the top, I think. As much as 5 was over the top. It was too. It leaned way too much.
To go against the blast of the bellows and vouch for a lady. Even his
And it kind of felt like they tried to tie in everybody's story almost. They had to have like Leon and Chris and Ada and. I don't think was Claire. No, Claire wasn't in the game. I suppose Claire and Jill wasn't in the game.
I've had cause to regret it.
I just felt like they were trying to tie the story out. Not tie out the story out, but like try and ram as many like big characters as they could.
When he wasn't being such a lout.
So, maybe that's just me.
Sorry, he's gone.
Yeah.
1 is your favorite? 1 remake was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. 0 not so much. And that was my first Resident Evil game. Was 0.
Let me have a look at that spike. I might be able to pick up more of that message.
How?
Let's just say I have a rig of my own.
I didn't know Nora were tinkers.
They're not, but I am, in a way. Be right back.
Well, okay then.
Sucker's like so confused.
Just follow the wire to the spike at the top. And then please, just don't break anything.
Try. I will say though, Code Veronica probably has the best save music. It's like save room music. I wasn't too keen on the story of it. Like, fucking Steve. I was like, oh, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? Obviously I like Claire. Claire was fun. And Chris.
Gotta give her credit, lugging all that wire up a cliff wall. There's the spike. Might get better reception if I'm next to it.
Fucking Steve, dude. Yeah, he was 7, all right. I've got no stake in the series since I'm not a Resident Evil fan. I feel like I would say something that would confuse and annoy Resident Evil fans.
Seem to get a fix on where the signal's coming
Okay.
from. Though. Well, better let the Tinker know I got a bit more of the message.
Oh, it's not.
This ought to be a good shortcut.
Fucking Steve, dude. I love that. No, it's a cyberpunk reference. I assume. Oh, I can upgrade a pouch. Yeah, why not? Fucking Steve. uh...
Your rig is picking up an old world message. A recording of some kind.
Thought as much. Did you hear more of it?
A bit. It was recorded during...
I remember saying, "Father!"
Maybe that's why
That firing those dual... Was it dual pistols or was it dual SMGs? I can't remember what Uzis he had.
Something about it that makes me think of my late brother.
And Claire's just like, what the fuck?
Not sure why exactly.
I still can't.
Let's make the wimpiest, most wimpiest, goddamn annoying ass weakling cracker we can pair. We can and pair that with Claire. Nothing can ever go wrong. Jesus Christ.
Even if I could dodge the
Yeah.
and the machines, I can't
Didn't see that one coming, did they? Huh.
Pulls down the words better.
Okay. If it's an old world message, then let's try old world methods.
Docker.
They used to pinpoint signals by listening for them at 3 different spots. The taller the better. And then they combined the information and used it to find the source.
And you can do that.
Called triangulation.
But your spike
that?
is only one
I
spot.
don't fucking know.
I need 2 more, both up high.
Hindsight 2020, but god damn it, Capcom.
That should work. I have another spot in mind, near a place I'm camping.
Wait. I don't know your name. Or why you do all of this for someone you just met.
Aloy. And because I want to know what's out there. Same as you.
Silga. And when you find it, Aloy, I'd be eager to hear what it is.
At least they gave Steve a happy ending. Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Oh, now there's 2. Oh, fucking god damn it. There's one in Scalding Spear, and then there's one in the base. Okay, that can fucking wait. For us. Yeah. Okay, there are ads playing, so I will hold fire for now. I was really happy with that ending, and I'm going to see that motherfucker ever again. Get this motherfucking Steve off his motherfucking game. The idea. Oh, Slitherfang site? Yeah, fuck that. I don't want none of that. While the ads are running, I'm just going to make my way over to my destination. When I get close, I will pause. Wait, have I got skill points? No, I haven't. Okay, so this will open up the arena. Okay. Where are you heading to? I'm heading to the rollerback site. So I can open up the arena. I know so we got 2 things to do in Scalding Spear now. And also there's a... How am I going to get up? Ooh, how am I going to get up? I'm going to have to go past... So to the Sunwing site, I'd imagine. Right? I would have thought. Get that signal spike. Okay, now stay there. Please. because things are fucking... Bye. Bye. It's fine. It's not fine. Oh no, that's... Why am I shooting my own fucking mount? No! Oh god, what is happening? I don't know what's happening anymore. Goodness. Welcome back, guys, everybody. We're just fighting machines, as one does. Whoa, what? Oh, well, fuck you then. Well, my fucking mount's about to die. Oh, what are you? Oh, I've not marked you before. Sunwing. Ah, that's where you are. I'm about to die. I'm about to die. Ice? That's right, ice. I'll be to water. Okay. Well, that's not fucking good. Oh. Get knocked down. But I get up again. Go strike. No. Fuck you. Absolute bitch. Ah. Bonk. Okay. Okay, so... Yeah, my mount's dead. So I have no mount now. Bit sad. We killed some Sunwings and a Skydrifter, I guess. Looting thing.
Well, don't have to worry about running out.
Nice. Okay. Back to full. Nice. Awesome. Sweet. Well, looks like we're going on foot.
This one looks like it's got a
You dead. Spike snaps on the go. Hiya. Oh, instant flame. Nice.
Just like Kala said. Gonna have to take it down.
Yep, I just rolled right on that one. Okay, it's weak to acid. Nice. Quite why it went into fucking... Ah. Very nice. That wasn't very nice either. An engine in the back. Kind of fucking wild. Well. It's fine. Fuck. It's good that I'm taking machine parts off. Wait, hang on. Oh, yeah, I want that. Black, dang it. Oh, I didn't like that. I am now poisoned. Oh, look at that. It's freaking bringing stuff back on. Huh. I just rolled into that, didn't I, for no reason. Okay.
Salvage that sinew.
Roller back has been killed.
I should get back to Kala. Hand over the parts. I can refill my pouch with these later.
Okay. Yeah, I went through a lot of ridgewood there. Nice.
Tara's sick with this heat.
Fast travel. Thing.
Honor and strength.
May your enemies fall. You're more skilled than that. I hear she stopped.
Oh, the side quest here.
You may enter, Outlander. May your blade strike.
The truth of the vision's honor to witness this.
Hello.
Nice choice of armor.
An honor champion. I'm Nako. Have you been out to the Valley of the Fallen by chance?
Don't think I have. Why? What's there?
My idiot little brother. The valley is a test of endurance and skill for my clan, the Lowlanders. But it's been closed for months. Commander's orders. There have been reports of strange lights off the coast, and the whole area is crawling with deadly machines. But Dax, reckless and bare-armed as he is, went in anyway. Never takes no for an answer. Convinced 2 others to go with him, too. They've been missing for days, and now Marshal Ivir has been sent in to bail them out.
Strange lights, deadly machines, and missing soldiers. Sounds like a lot, even for a marshal.
I'd go by myself, if I wasn't stuck on transport duty.
I'll find your brother, if I can. Where is this valley?
Southwest of here, in the depths of lowland territory. Look for the climbing path on the cliffs. It marks the start of the valley. And if you see my brother, knock him on his ass for making me worry.
Gladly. Look like a piece of shit.
Strange lights off the coast.
Anywho.
Can't be good. I should look into it when I'm out that way.
Hikaru commands my blade.
Oh, nice. Oh, so the arena have people that... Okay, that makes sense. Hello.
I've got the parts you need for the ballista.
Excellent. We'll get it fixed up right away, and then the arena will be ready. You're welcome to fight anytime.
How does it work?
Simply speak to me, and I'll arrange a challenge for you.
And any medals you win from fighting, you can exchange with me for some of the tribe's very best equipment. Not just from the arena, but also medals won at hunting grounds. After upgrading your gear, I think you'll come to favor me over Kala.
I'm here to help train our squads. Is that a popularity contest?
Good thing for you. I'll take my leave then. Come talk to me if you win, or if you have soldiers' tags to turn in.
Well then, if you'd like to fight in the arena now, we can set it up in no time.
They're all part of the same.
Yeah, fuck it.
I'll give it a shot.
Good. We'll reopen with the champion in the ring.
The arena. Are you ready to put your machine hunting skills to the ultimate test? Jump into the arena and take on the strongest machines and escalating challenges. Complete challenges to earn arena medals that can be traded to the prize master for unique and extremely powerful gear. Choose your weapons and tend to your health before entering the arena. You won't get a chance to do so once inside. Amateur. 2 claw striders and 3 scrappers. Are you not entertained? I'm just getting gladiator vibes now. Oh, what a dodge that was. I was impressed. That not so much. Oh, can't take your pat. No, I can't hear. I'm deaf. The dodo. They're weak against the main as well. Ah. That's dead. Come on. Nice. Oh yeah. Who's the best? Aloy's the best. One long leg and one ravager. Yeah. I got plenty of money. I think I got like 5,000 metal shards. Another lightning one. Okay. Dead, 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 dead. I thought it wasn't dead. It's dead. Ow, just took one in the face. Like, dude, why are you trying to scan for me? I'm right in front of you. Why would you do that? Hello? These little shits. With a minute, 20 seconds to spare. Woo, nice. Good stuff. Roller back and one roller back and 3 spike snouts. Fire. Roller back is acid, but they're fire. Ow. The hell, dude? What's... Can you just, like, fuck off, please? Dude. Just saw that one coming. Critical strike. Oh, I just shot at it from the sky and it just went, nah. 3 seconds to spare. I mean, even the amateur ones are quite hard. Damn, sir. Rematch. Oh, Sutherfang. But someone defeated it in 7 seconds. That's mental. That's actually fucking mental. You're so confused? Okay. Shredder gauntlets fire projectiles that slice into machines and become more powerful with each catch. After 3 catches, their next impact explodes. Hold R2 before firing to fully charge the shredder in order to tear into enemies longer and deal more damage. Oh, is that what I've got? Wait, what? Oh, I've got a... Oh, they've given me a set. Oh, okay. So weak against fire and frost. Fire and frost. I've got frost warrior. Oh god, stop giving me messages when I'm in mid-battle. This is fine. Yeah. It's fine. I'm not concerned. Okay. How about that? Okay. Like I'm throwing a blade. Bitch. Oh, he angry. Oh, he angry. Gonna be tight. Nice. Ooh. I was watching a video for Concord and I decided to look at the comments because how bad can that be? The comment I saw said, my pronouns are not / respect them. And I was like, what? I mean... eh? Okay. That's one way to say your pronouns, I guess. Not / buying them. Buying / respect.
Let's see how you do against. The arena's always open to you.
I need a breather after that. Ooh. Yeah, that's interessante. There's a group of people that are angry because the characters in the game have pronouns. Oh, for crying out loud, really? Are we... Of all the things to be annoyed about, it's that. Like, no, it's not the graphics don't look good or the gameplay looks terrible. No, it's because the characters have pronouns. It's like, fucking just do me a favor and fuck off, will you? Yeah, just do me a favor and fuck off.
You were right to come.
Come on. Actually, I didn't even need. Wait. Yeah, I didn't need to buy that. Fuck's sake, I should have sold it. Don't need that. That's one of the things that people have said that is why this game will fail. I mean, we'll wait and see, innit? That's all we can do. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I would laugh if it does do well. Just because shunning a game because it's got pronouns in it of all things. You know, pronouns in it. It's like next they'll be saying, oh, because the main character is named Jeffrey. Oh, we can't have that. This game is gonna suck. Give them a fucking chance, will you? Or the main character is called, you know, freaking Dave. It's like, ah, yeah. Well, with a terrible name like that, it's not gonna work. Terrible, stupid decision from the community, from the developers. What were they thinking? You know what I mean? But alas, that's why I don't read comments and stuff like that, because I just don't care. Like, people like that just don't deserve my attention or my breath. So, you know, is what it is.
Aloy, need to turn in some tags or trade some medals? Maybe you won some from hunting grounds or the arena.
Yeah, well, you know.
I found some of the
Like I said, I don't want to.
Good.
I don't want to be negative about things.
Will be grateful. Here, a small reward for your efforts, but don't let your guard down. There are
Puts me
still
in a
many
shitty mood.
outposts in the wilds.
Okay. Ooh, I can have a martial hunter bow. Ooh. Now then. Oh wait, I can have a wait. Oh, I need arena medals. Death Seeker. Ooh, wow. It's yeah. So it's a shock. It's a shock bow, and a precision bow. Look. I'll take the martial hunter bow though. Rampant blast sling. Relentless bolt blaster. Nora Thunder Warrior. Oh, wow. Oh. Tenakth Vanquisher. Or Kaja Stalker Elite. Wow, look at that. I think Tenakth Vanquisher looks sick. That looks amazing. But the minus 40, like purple and fire resistance. Eesh, that's a problem. That's a problem. Rampant Blast Sling sounds pretty cool though. I think I've got a Blast Sling equipped, haven't I? So I did. Do it instead of the spike thrower.
Good luck on the hunt.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Well, safe travel.
Targeting hunter arrows are now available for one of your hunter bows. Okay. I wish it would, like... That's the only thing I've had at the moment is, like, when those things pop up, like, the game stops. Not, like, as I'm midway through fighting a fucking Slitherfang when I'm on the clock. Like, that's not what I need right now. I mean... Okay, so if I do... Okay, I got 7 skills. Okay, that's... Medicine capacity. Yep. Palace Surge Master. Critical Strike. And then melee damage. if a game includes a character like that's like me, basically a character with autism, and it's done in a really good and meaningful way and not just used for laughs, that game would be considered a bad game by those kinds of people. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's just being fucking a dick for the sake of being a dick. And yeah. It's just like, oh yeah, it has to be the way it is. God, can you stop? I need a workbench. I think. So cleaving sharp drop bow I can get rid of, and the prototype spike throw I can get.
Face off against machines and prove your worth to the clan.
Where was the workbench? Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, I'm not wasting my breath on them. I've said my piece. You're able to buy new outfits? I can have a look. I don't think I can, but... Oh no, sorry, I did speak to the armor, didn't I? Yeah, so we've got the Ossurum, Arrowbreaker... Oh no, I didn't look at these ones, sorry. Wave, Wanderer... Yeah, to be honest, I still prefer my Karja Shadow. Let's sell my weapons. That's me. Okay, right, so let's look at my inventory. Oil to modify. What's the damage plus 10%? Yeah, I'll take that. Berserk. Oh, that's a Berserk round. Okay. Nice. Okay, I see. Cross defense? Yeah, they do. They sure do. So the armor that you like isn't available yet. Good to know. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just the Karja Shadow. This one, I love this outfit. Just looks so nice on Aloy, and with the dye we put on it, it's so good. So, I need to get some meals. I get some stuff from the cook. These boosts low health range. I just want to... Like, that is nice, but I don't have any fucking... 10% maximum health for 3 minutes. Actually, you know what? Look at that. Look at... Take that food off you. Okay, let's leave. Yeah, so quest-wise, we've got... So we got that to do at some point. Go to the tower and the mountain stuff. So I had the Fallen level 28. Too bad that outfit that covers Aloy's face because you're able to get Aloy's face painted. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Can I turn that helmet off? Or no? Not such a thing. Check the settings. General? Show headpiece. Ah, there we go. Nice. Yeah, that's much better. I like it. Like I like the headpiece on the first outfit I had, but yeah, a bit too much on this one. So, nice. Thank you, Jax. Okay, so let's head towards here. We're going foot. Fuck. I noticed as well the helmet was clipping through her skin at various points. I know that's like a really shitty, nitpicky thing to say, like, but I did notice it when it was certain conversations being discussed, like in certain conversations were being had. Was there a black box in here? How do I get in there? How do I get in here? That's full damage. Ow. Yeah, that's probably why I'd be saying as well too.
I've been able to use that to get in.
Okay, I can get the wing. Gotta be an entrance. Back maybe? Uh-huh. There are vines covering the entrance here to progress the story. Gotcha. Oh yeah, the bluey vines? Is it the bluish vines? Yeah. I've noticed a couple of those as well on my travels. Black box. Hey!
Romeo requesting status update. Flight 41, you need to adjust your course to avoid the swarm. Can you respond? Over.
Nope.
Flight 41, please acknowledge. My sensors are showing their cabins depressurized. I think the crew's gone and they're on autopilot.
Probably.
Flight 41's a ghost flight.
Whatever happened to the people on that plane? They weren't there to respond. They trying to survive. This Pharaoh's machines swept the planet of life. All those people lost. To one man.
Yep. Sounds about right. Hey, Lakers. How you doing, buddy? Good to see ya. How you keeping? I'm just gonna walk past. That's okay. Oh, they're Apex ones. God damn it, I can't fucking get them. Fine, we're fine, we're fine. Doing pretty well. How are you? I'm doing good. Not doing too bad myself. Glad to hear you're doing well. Glad to hear it. Have you finished work, or are you still just about clocking off, or whatever? Or are you off today? Or time off? Oh, hello.
Aloy, the outpost is just over there. Are you ready?
No.
The rebels aren't going to give up without a fight.
Then we'll have to give them one. The bloodshed won't end until Regala is defeated. What matters is their prisoner Nakala. Maybe she knows where Kavo's squad went.
Okay, let's head in then.
Are we going full metal balls to the walls? Oh, we're just killing them. Killing them. Right. Oh, let's see, actually. Trying to finish up some Mario Brothers 3 for the first time. Ooh, nice. Like the old, like SNES Super Mario Brothers 3? I think that's the only Super Mario Bros. 3 in there. I've not played the old school games. The oldest one I probably played is 64. This one. Gotcha. I hope it's going well for you. I sure hope there's no guards here.
Rebel outpost. Gonna have to find whoever's in charge and stop them from causing any more harm.
I sure hope there's nobody. Donk.
Come, Aloy. Back to the task at hand.
Back to the task at hand. This is the camp we're going in, aren't we? Surely. Unless I'm going fucking Dulali.
I gotta load it up.
Fucking low, little lizard. Oh, we got some arrows. Let's go. Yep, I'm getting shot at quite a bit.
Still in this fight.
Oh, you're dead. How far? How far are you in? How far do you think you're in Mario Brothers 3? By the way, like, are you in like World 8 or fairly close? World was your first game in the series when Yoshi first appeared? Ah, okay. Yeah, I think.
Here until you return.
Yeah, I actually tell a lie. I played the DS version of. I played New Super Mario Bros. DS, but then. Yeah, I think and then. I'm pretty sure like 64 came out before that. So chronologically. Shut up. Yeah, like 64 is the oldest like Mario game I've played. Well, you're definitely the rebel leader, aren't you? Found you. Oh, get the fuck out.
That's all of them.
Our scouts said they saw Nakala tied up at a wood post.
Let's look around.
At his castle? Oh, you're very close then. Very close indeed. Before we find this person, I'm gonna just, like, loot everything, if that's okay. Because this is a big outpost, and... rebels and plenty of chests. If you don't mind me saying. Never played that one. I've been slowly working my way through to the NES era library and forward. Ah, okay. Yeah, New Super Mario Bros. DS was probably one of my first experiences of Mario. But then alongside that, I played Luigi's Mansion 1 a lot. I loved that game. So much. I think that was one of the first, like, alongside Crash, whatnot, that was one of my first games that I actually 100%ed, like, more than once, or finished more than one, you know. Kind of, like, really combed through the game as best I could. I did it multiple times as well. I just love, like, there's just something about Luigi's Mansion 1, it just I just loved it. I think my favorite Mario game is probably Galaxy 1. I love Super Mario Galaxy 1. That is definitely my favorite. That was actually our, I think when I streamed it, it was our 100th game that we played. Or, well, we were going to beat on stream. I might play it again at some point to do Luigi's story. Because once you beat 120, once you get all 121 stars, you get to play the game again, but as Luigi. And I so want to do that. Point.
There, that's the post.
No Nakala, obviously. But maybe the rebels moved her. I can look for tracks.
But the big thing, the thing. On. I need to find this this fucking thing.
I might be able to find Nakala's tracks with my focus.
I know, but I want to get the box that was locked up here. Oh, what a... Oh. Now that is what I call a sunrise. That's what I call a sunrise. What a beautiful game.
Thanks from dead soldiers. Dougal will want these.
Your favorite is Mario RPG? I do have that game. I have the Switch remake, so...
There. Tracks leading away from the post.
Where do they go?
Round and round, nobody knows.
There's rope. Just enough to bind someone. Blood. From the rebels or Nakala? Blood's dried. Someone was wounded here a while ago.
But not fatally.
Oh, but you gotta be quick.
Dead end.
No. I think there's something under that wood.
There's a hatch.
Take my hand, Nakala. Steady now.
Where am I? Chaplain? Is that you? And with an Outlander.
Whoa.
Good things about that 1,000 Year Door.
Rebels had me strung up.
Yeah, I want to play this RPG remake at some point.
Squad movements by letting me
Try and, you know... I know I don't really give the Switch much love, so I want to try to do that at some point.
Pay for that. Last thing I remember was a crack on the head and the taste of dirt. How'd you end up here?
We're looking for Cavo. His squad was last spotted leaving this outpost.
Yeah, he was here. It was his squad that attacked us on the road. My comrades got away, but I was taken. Cavo tied me to the post himself. If you're looking for him, Chaplain, I'm afraid you'll only find a dead end. His loyalties are clear.
Do you know where his squad went?
I overheard them mention Fall's Edge.
Then we'll pick the search up from there. I'll go ahead and meet you at Fall's Edge, southwest of here.
Dekka, if Cavo attacked her squad?
No! He's not lost to us yet. We have to find him and turn him from this path.
Okay. I'll see you there. What about you? That wound needs to be looked at.
It'll scar. I just need to rest a bit, then I'll report into the Grove. I'm telling you, Bloodhair. The chaplain might not want to hear it, but her grandson is a traitor.
I guess we'll see about that.
All the way over there. God damn it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so in terms of side quests now, Ostrom salvage thing I can probably wait, to be honest. I'll do another time. It's 10 to 10 now. So let's go and go here. Okay, ads. This is good timing actually, because it'll give me a chance to get the fire bristle back during the ad break. That.
Should try something other than fire.
Shocker, since they're fire bristlebacks. Easy as pie. Let's ride our way there. Hopefully it won't take us that long.
This is where Zoe said we'd find the grim bones she needs parts from to kill Plainsong's land gods.
I don't know.
I should let her know I'm here. There. The Grimoires.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, you're here. Good.
Taking these machines down won't be easy.
We'll be fine. Follow my lead, okay?
Oh. We're here now. A level 29. Or maybe that's the number. Maybe that's the number, actually. Fuck, there's at least 2 of them. Okay, welcome back to this, everybody. We've just accidentally just bumped ourselves into another side quest. Here we are. We're helping Zoe. That was a quick kill. I like that.
It's over.
Hit them now!
Running back, it's running back. Oh, so. Stand in front of me, please. Don't do that. Oh, that's an ice ballaback. Fuck you. Need to get out of the way. Oh my Jesus. Ooh. I froze it at least. Fuck. Threw down a little. Yeah, so she probably threw down a little hunter arrows. I'm so sorry. I'll spell it back. Nice. Apex Grimhorn, nice. How many are left? Not be many left. Oh, is it a Grimhorn?
Just traps. I think this used to be a Tanakh hunting ground. Okay. Maybe we can use
The
them.
Grimhorn, yeah. I think that's Grimhorn, yeah. Let's fuck shit up. Figuratively and literally. That was loud. Maybe I was meant to aim it higher. He did.
We did it. You okay? A bit winded. You've got the control cores? I can take them from here.
2 control cores as requested.
Thank you. Gaia showed me a way to scan them and take what we need to update the reboot code. I'll head back to base and get started. When I was a child, there was always enough to eat. The land gods provided for us, and every season we celebrated them. My happiest memories come from those times. Do you really think we can bring them back?
We'll make it happen.
Thank you, Aloy.
Walk to Zoe base, okay. That wasn't too bad. Okay, so what was I doing? Right, yeah, taste of victory. So what's that?
So we'll probably need some time to sort through those cores. I should do something else in the meantime. Ready for anything now?
Ooh, green shine magma. Calm down, calm down. Take that gold ingot. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Oh. They're bad guys. Will you though?
Smash that machine!
Oh, come on, I helped you. There. Okay, go, 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 go. Oh, go. Get the fuck out of here. Come on, bristleback, please. Climb, climb. Thank you. In the clear. Oh, God. Oh, there's a cauldron up there. Really? Really? Being ambushed now? You live my life, please.
I've got this.
Hello. Oh, wow. Turtle has been defeated. Nice. GG's. Oh, an invisible workbench. Love to see it. GG's on the completion now, Lakers. So now you move on to, is it World? After 3? I can't remember which one you play after. I can't remember what order you play through.
Come and trade.
Eventide, Ropecaster, Iron Eater, Shredder Gauntlet. Big huge fan.
Red hair? Keen
I mean,
big spear. Those ingredients mean a Nora warrior. Aloy, you defeated Regella at the Grove, right? There's not a rumor in the land that...
so I think Link to the Past is actually list. Oh, I can't wait to play that. I want to play that so bad.
Soldier just gossip about foods that can make her stronger.
You think soldiers are the only ones with skills? Blades aren't just for war. Slice up the
I've never
right
played Link to the
ingredients
Past.
and you'll be stronger in the field.
What ingredients do you need?
Some bird meat and a little mystery ingredient.
If it stays a mystery, I won't be able to get it for you.
Wild bird's eggs. These soldiers won't touch them. They claim warriors only eat meat. But a true warrior takes every advantage.
What else are you saying?
Dining delights taste a better warrior.
What do you got there? Oh, okay.
I'll get you those ingredients.
See, Hakata? You can get the eggs from the island in Desert's Tier.
Okay.
The lake just outside the walls.
Okay.
As for the meat, plenty of birds feed in the grasses around the shores. Bring the ingredients back here, and you'll get that meal for free.
Ooh, that's a nice one. Now the 5 bird eggs and 6 bird meat. Okay, well at least I want to get at least the campfire. That's the campfire. Or at least. They've built over an old helicopter. Oh.
Everywhere you go? Sorry. Well,
Sorry.
I guess we can use it for storage.
Sorry.
Doesn't make you eligible for a discount.
I wasn't asking for one, but okay. Okie doke. So okay, that's fine. I can. Let's go then to Soldiers March. Guess. Yeah, so we're gonna head to campfire.
One-way trip, so I guess they're gonna have to enduring victory. Zero Dawn, whatever the hell it is. Oh, well, any chance it's an ice machine? This drink's warm.
Oops.
I guess everyone found their own way to deal with the end.
Fast travel. Yeah. I think we'll finish up by going back to the base and talking to Zoe. And whatnot. We got a good chunk of side stuff done, so comes. Frostclaw? Oh, they were fucking horrible in the DLC. Yeah, I'm not dealing with them right now. They're friendly, that's good to know. Alright.
Judging by these markers, that climbing trail Jekka talked about must be nearby. I should check up on her brother while I'm here.
Aloy, I was like, say, Aloy, where are you going?
This will make a good dive.
Is this all of us?
Oh.
Close to not look wounded. What happened? That person looks like they're in charge. I should...
Wallbreaker. If you've come to witness the March of the Ten, you're out of luck.
Actually, I came looking for someone called Pento.
Pento? That poor scab was as good as dead even before the storm hit.
You're out of line, soldier.
What's he talking about?
The kid you're looking for is still up on the mountain, along with 2 others. Pento was the only one who decided to break tradition and climb without a partner. His odds aren't good. I'm sorry to say they never were to begin with. As far as being Tanak goes, he's got most of it backwards.
So what? You're all just waiting here? Shouldn't you be calling for help?
Couldn't find anyone in that storm, even if we wanted to. Those kids are at the mercy of the mountain now.
We'll see about that. But first, a couple of questions.
I want to interrogate you.
Why is everyone so sure this Pental can't climb that mountain?
Our people are soldiers. We respect strength
Appreciate the
and
alert,
agility. Pento has neither. Never has. He's been stuck on cleaning duty since he was a child. Yet he decided to undergo our clan's most difficult trial on his own.
And you think he's crazy for trying?
I'm not a fan of that word. When I chose to wear a woman's armor, people called me crazy too. I guess Pento just feels like he has to prove himself, to show who he really is. I understand, believe me. But that climb is hard enough, even without a storm.
What is this march you mentioned?
This is one of the toughest slopes in Sky Clan territory. It's said that the Ten climbed this mountain in pairs during their war against machines. Our people partner up to earn their soldiers' marks by following in the Old One's footsteps and retrieving the Blood Crest, a flower that grows on the summit. Until Pento, that is. He insisted on climbing on his own.
You mean no one wanted to climb up with him?
I tried to stop him, but there were technically no rules against it, so I let him pass.
That sounds familiar. The Nora have a similar ritual. No one wanted me in that one either.
Their mistake, I presume.
Yep. I could try following the path up the mountain. See if I can find Pentov. You said there were 2 other climbers missing as well?
Just one. The other is right there. Zika!
Rocco and I, we were climbing back down. There was an avalanche. We got separated. I couldn't see anything.
Chosen! Look at the rain, dude. God, boys. Hey, Royal. Hello, hello. Good to see y'all. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. I'll give you a shout out as well, Royal. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for the raid, Chosen. Didn't realize you were streaming. Thank you so much.
Chosen and
Remember how long that is.
my stream with 2 viewers. Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
Chosen_outlaw just subscribed. Boom. The boys.
Boys. Thank you for the 5 months. Tier 1. Thank you, Chosen, so much. And thank you for the raid. How goes it? It goes good. It goes good. We are currently doing some side quests at the moment. Yesterday we did a lot of story missions. Unlocked a few like different areas and settlements. So we got some side quests unlocked. So today we've just been kind of slowly but surely going through them. So yeah, we're coming up to near the end actually, because it's starting to get late for me. So I think this will probably be the last sort of proper quest that we do, and then we go back to our little hub area to finish off. So but yeah, appreciate the raid. What were you playing? I think I saw, was it Mafia? Mafia 1. Nice. How was Mafia? I've not played the Mafia games, but I've heard the first one is very good. I've heard the first one's good. But yeah, no, it's going good. It's going good. But for those who don't know, I am Wash Bandicoot. I am a member of the boys. And we are playing Horizon Forbidden West for the first time. I played Zero Dawn a few times already, and we played it on stream as well. So it's only right that we played the PS5 sequel. I'm having a lot of fun with this game so far. I do try and do different games from different consoles. So like PS1, PS2, Switch, Xbox, PC now that I've got a gaming PC, proper one. And then I try and branch out to as many genres as I possibly can. I don't really have a set schedule. I just kind of click the stream button, start stream button when I can and feel like it. But yeah, typically Monday to Fridays we do single player games, and then Saturdays, or if I stream on the weekend, we do multiplayer games. At the moment, I'm doing a co-op run of Elden Ring with my good buddy Ben. We did it last Friday. We've been going through the DLC as well as the base game. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. Because we did a Dark Souls 3 playthrough 2-3 years. I think it was 2 years ago. 2-3 years ago. I think it was at this point. It was good, fun game. Nice. I'm glad to hear Mafia was good. I haven't played them myself, but I've heard they're good. But if you need a raid and run, Chosen, and anybody who's come in with a raid, please do all the post-stream care stuffs that you need to do. I really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to stick around for a little bit for some Horizon Forbidden West, then by all means, I'd love to have you. But yeah, let's continue on. And thank you again for the raid and the resub, Chosen. I really appreciate it. Go follow Chosen, everybody. Cool dude. Founding member of the boys. So
If the storm gets too rough, I can always use my focus.
we have to follow. and
follow the markers.
support as much as we can.
They'll lead me to the start.
Yeah. Go drop him a follow, as well as Royal as well. He's on his way to affiliate, so any viewership, I think it's the viewership that's left, I think, isn't it, for you, Royal? I've been trying to lurk in your streams as often as I can. But yeah, if we can get Royal to affiliate, that'd be amazing.
Secret ingredient for someone, I'll bet.
So yeah, we're climbing up a mountain that's just had a storm to try and find a soldier of sorts. We'll see how this goes and how badly it's going to end. But somebody. Come on then, Aloy, let's go.
Markers.
Oh,
I'm on the right track.
fighting. I can see there's machines fighting.
Sounds like someone's putting up a fight.
Probably.
This lock needs help.
Oh, it's a stalker.
Thanks for the assist.
I forgot about them.
Okay?
Not really, but I'll live.
Your climbing partner, she said you got separated during an avalanche?
Yeah, it's just the viewer left getting pretty close on it. Nice, nice. Yeah, say just if we can get Follow Royal and get those viewership, that would be awesome. I'll give you a Twitch shout out as well.
He risked his life for me.
Did you see where he went?
Up that cliff behind you.
Hang
Said he was
tight.
gonna finish the climb. I told him it was suicide, but he wouldn't listen.
Can you make it back down on your own?
Yes. You're not going after him, are you?
Go. Get back to Wakata before the storm gets any worse.
May the 10 be with you.
May the 10 be with me indeed.
I have to find Pento before he gets himself killed.
Would be a good idea. Point. Aha. You when's your next stream, Royal? Might hang out if I can, get the viewers up.
I should use my focus to pick up Pento's trail. Can't let the... Those must be Pento's tracks. Let's hope I can catch up to him. Looks like the avalanche destroyed most of the climbing path.
Yeah, I can see.
The missing soldier must have climbed up this way.
Go, Aloy, go.
Pento made it past here. The path must have collapsed after him. Maybe I can glide across.
Whee! I forget you have a glider.
I should be able to pick up Pento's tracks again.
We're fighting.
Get out of my way! Let's hope that's Pento.
On.
Looks like he could use some help.
Who's there?
A friend!
Okay, leap slasher. Weak to water. Okay. Oh, thank you. No annoying noise. The what? Look, it's a note.
Who are you? You don't look Tanakh.
No, I don't.
Penta?
Do I know you?
Wakata sent me. We need to get off this mountain, now.
No. I'm not going back there as a failure. I am getting that flower no matter what.
Look, I know what it's like when your tribe looks down on you, but you—
Then you understand why I'm either gonna get to the top of this mountain or die on it. Thank you.
I was gonna say, that's what Aloy would have done.
What are you doing?
This climb is meant to be done by 2 people, right? I'll be your partner.
I'll follow your lead.
Listen. Nice, let's go.
Want this?
Looks like the trail carries on here.
Oh, I'll take that. Thank you very much, good sir.
You know my name, but I don't think I caught yours.
It's Aloy.
You sure you want to involve yourself with the Bulwark's biggest loser, Aloy?
I like to make my own judgments about people.
You know, it's not like everyone can be born with a sword glued to their hand, but apparently that's what it takes to be Tanakh. This is my one shot at proving everyone wrong.
Well, sounds like you're as stubborn
was that?
as any Tanakh type. I don't know.
Maybe it's just the wind.
Yeah, I don't think it's just the wind.
There's a climbing spike. That was amazing.
That was amazing.
It should let us reach the climbing path.
You won't hear me complaining.
Yeah, just casually just pushes a tree over, as one does. Aloy is not. Aloy is superhuman. Confirmed.
Watch out!
Really? I would have jumped to that. Oh, I'm gonna go all the way back up again.
You're back. We still have to climb our way up
We
the
should
mountain.
be able to jump onto that climbing path from the tree.
Don't know where that's some climbing gear you've got.
Thanks. It's time to start climbing.
That doesn't sound like any storm wind I've ever heard.
Almost there.
That's a stalker.
See it?
I can't believe we actually made it.
Let's get to that summit then.
Oh look, there's a weird looking wall that's got a machine behind it.
Sorry. There's something I needed to do. You were talking before I left?
Frostclaw! That's what we need.
We can handle it.
Aloy's like mid-fight, she's like, what do you want to tell them? Frostclaw! Fucking Frostclaw! Fucking hell, ow. Heal, 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 heal. Nice. Let's go.
We got it! Come on! This way, Aloy!
Wait up!
I want at least loot it. Jesus. Tisk sounds fucking horrible. There he is at the top.
Storm. It's easing up. So, how does it feel to make rank?
Pretty great, actually. This means everything to me.
You know, even if you go back with that, it doesn't mean they'll treat you any different.
Honestly, I think I just need to prove to myself I could do this. You should go back. Let the others know I'm okay. I'd like to take a moment, if you don't mind. I'll be right behind you.
Of course.
Thank you.
This is a very pretty flower.
I can probably reach the bottom of the trail faster if I use my shield wing. And get a nice view, too. Making good use of this.
Whee! Oh, we are so...
So peaceful now that the storm has passed.
Whoa. Oh. Whoa. Oh god, you fall quick. Holy moly. I probably should have glided all the way down, but it's fine. You realize how far you drop.
I should be reaching the bottom of the trail soon. Pento can't be far behind.
Hey. I should be level 27 by this.
There's everyone.
Did you find Penta, Outlander?
He got himself killed, didn't he?
Don't say that.
Aloy, you return alone.
Where is he?
He's my brother.
You can't go crying like that, Jekka. You're the sister of a proper soldier now.
Bento!
Aww.
Oh. I bring you the blood crest as proof of my march.
And with my blessing, you join our ranks. May you find your path on the wings of the Ten.
You've got to be kidding me. Him? A soldier? Please. Flower or no flower, we all know all he'll ever be good for is cleaning everyone's shit.
He just fucking headbutt him. Nice.
I think we're done here.
I think we're done here. Good fucking riddance.
Better put some snow on that, or it'll bruise. Thanks for saving my life. Maybe when I get my old soldier's mark, we can fight in the same squad. Give me a chance to return the favor.
He's cute.
Go on. I'll catch up.
He's cute.
Here. Something to commemorate our climb. May the Ten always grant you victory, Aloy.
I'll see you around, Pinto.
Oh, that was nice. Okay, so before we finish up, we have got. Let's go back to the base. Talk to Zoe. That should give us some extra skill points. We'll get back to this, and then we'll probably do some more side questing for a little bit tomorrow as well. Or just do bits and pieces of what we can do. We'll probably head to Scalding Spear, probably, if we can. Next time.
You're back.
Now that you have those control cores, are you ready to reboot the land gods in Plainsong?
Not yet. Gaia told me the reboot code has to be altered using data from the cores. She updated my focus with software to accomplish this task, but apparently it's very complicated. It'll take time.
Well, let me know if you need any help.
I will.
I better head out.
I wish you well.
So to complete the reboot code. Cool. All right, let's pump some skills. I could do an extra. Oh man. Woo woo woo. Know it. Surge weapon stamina. Might get more melee attacks, combos. Okay, that'll do for this, and then we'll start going towards Father Surge Master and Weapon Stamina. 3. Oh, they're 3 skill points each. Ooh, okay. Maybe we'll go toward. Three is the cringe number. It's all right. It's all right, Luca. Okie doke. Let's pull it there. Can't do anything with that. Save in my room? I can't remember. There he is.
Looks like some of the holograms are working now.
I have repurposed the displays to track Regala's activity in the region.
A useful war map.
I hope I'm not interrupting.
Oh.
No, but I must ask. The woman Varlin Aaron brought in, she's related to you.
It's hard to explain. She's more of a copy.
Good. If she's anything like you, we've just gained reinforcements.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll talk to you in a bit, I think. We'll talk to you next stream.
On your way then.
Remember where I think I can I leave? I think I can. I need to leave before I can even save. Let's head out then.
I see you, champion.
Save. Annual save. We're at level 27 now, I think. We've done 24 hours of the game. Not bad. Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone popping in for stream. Again, thank you, Chosen, for the raid and the resub. Yeah, I hope... I'm going to probably just head on out, I think. Well, I need to refresh my Twitch because it's just... Oh, no. Damn it. Yeah, I'm just going to call it there, I think. Just I need to get to bed and stuff. But yeah, I appreciate everyone popping in. Yeah, you too, Luco. And I hope to see you all hopefully tomorrow with more Horizon Forbidden West. And we will continue on with some more side quests and stuff. And probably enter a new city settlement thing. So yeah, look forward to it. And I will see you all hopefully next time. Yeah, take care, Lakers. Thank you for popping in as well, my dude. Good night, everybody. And I'll see you all next time. Take care. Good night.